What is up, Flick fans? Welcome back to my channel. We've been doing lists galore over the last couple of weeks, but today's list is something that I was really looking forward to. These are my 10 most surprising movies of 2019. Now, Austin, what does surprising mean? So, the movies on this list are not necessarily my favorite movies of the year. There are actually one or two that I don't love, I just like. But when I say something surprised me, it mostly means that I was going into it either hesitant or just thinking it wasn't going to be that good. Some of the films on this list I thought were going to be terrible, and I'm not ranking them in order of quality. So I actually have some movies that I love a bit lower on this list. I'm ranking them on the level that they surprise me. So if something kind of surprised me, they're going to be towards the bottom. If something really just blew my mind, I had no clue this was a thing, I didn't think it was going to be a thing, those are the movies that are going to top my list. So what are your all's most surprising movies of the year? I feel like I have to make that clear because it's like, these aren't my favorite movies, these are just the ones that I thought weren't going to be that good, and some of them blew me away. Now, like I said, I need your comments down below. Let me know your lists, and if you enjoy these lists, if you want more 2019 things, let me know what you'd like to see from me, and hit that thumbs up button. It tells me you guys want more things like this. Now, before we get into the top 10, I do have one honorable mention. I'm not putting it on this list because it's going to be on another list at the end of the year, but I do want to throw out Marriage Story just because I knew it would be pretty good. I just didn't know I would love it on the level that I ended up loving it. It's one of those movies that has stuck with me ever since I first saw it, and I honestly like it a bit more than all of the movies on the list. I just didn't put it on there because I expected it to be good, but the level of good that it was just kind of blew me away. But that's not my number 10. My number 10 is actually Shazam. Not that I thought Shazam was going to be a bad film. I just thought it would be, a pretty good superhero movie that I think is okay. I saw the trailer and I said, well, the suit doesn't look great and the acting's a bit over the top, and I don't know why DC's choosing to shift in this direction when Dark, in my opinion, hasn't been the problem thus far. It's just been, some of the direction of the films, but Shazam really took my expectations and just kind of blew them away, man. I mean, this movie was so much fun, and the balance, my biggest worry going into it, was the thing that surprised me the most. It had a bit of darkness in there. The humor worked really well. One of the more entertaining movies of the year. It's not one of my top 10 films of the year or anything, but it is one that I didn't think would be one of my favorite modern DC films, and at the end of the day, it is, and that's why it makes my list of most surprising movies, and it is actually above a few of the movies above it in quality, in my opinion. One movie that I don't love, coming in at number 9, but I do think is significantly better than I thought it was going to be, because I'll be honest with you guys, I thought Aladdin was going to be the worst live-action Disney movie of 2019, and I know you're going to look at this list and say, why did Aladdin make your list? I don't love Aladdin. I like Aladdin, but my expectations going in were not good. I mean, I thought this was going to be one of the worst movies of the year, and it's not that at all. Now, it's not the most memorable film I've seen in 2019. You think a movie's going to be down here, and it ends up being like right here? That's pretty good. That is surprising. That's why it belongs on my list, because the thing that I thought was going to be the worst part about the movie, Will Smith's genie, was actually the best part of the film. He honored Robin Williams in a way that was fun, entertaining. Now, did I love the direction? No. Were certain things kind of like, okay, I would have done that a bit differently? Yes. But Aladdin had some fun elements to it, man, and it really did surprise me. It just surprised me that it's not my top 10 worst, but it also surprised me that I liked it significantly more than other Disney live-action movies that may end up on a different list. So we'll talk about those when we get there, but Aladdin, yeah, pretty surprising film. Next up on my list is one that I actually like significantly more than Aladdin, but the level of hesitation for some reason going into this movie, and I think it was just the fear that, Eddie Murphy, he's returning, he's coming back in this Dolomite Is My Name, and he's been trying to do the triumphant comeback a couple of times over the last few years, and it's just not worked. And I saw this, and they said it was going to be the same thing again. I'm just like, guys, can we just quit doing this to the poor guy? Because I love Eddie Murphy. I just don't know if this movie's going to be the one. Surprise, surprise, Austin. This movie was the comeback, the return of Eddie Murphy, and he was so good in this film. He's getting a bit of Academy Award consideration. I don't think he'll be nominated, but just the fact his name is being thrown out there, he and an Adam Sandler and My goodness, guys, what a year it's been, and what a year it's been for Eddie Murphy. I mean, the guy, in my opinion, deserves to get all of the accolades he's gotten thus far, because I think he was brilliant in the movie, and the movie surpassed my expectations. That's why it's on my list of top 10 most surprising movies of the year, because I was surprised with how entertaining Dolomite is my name is. My name is. My name. It's a ton of fun, man. I mean, I do think it's being a tad bit overhyped when we're looking at Oscar movies, and some people are throwing it in that list. I don't think it's an Oscar film, but I do think there are some Oscar-caliber performances in the film, and Eddie Murphy, man, he steals the entire show. My number 7, probably a movie that not a lot of you guys have watched, but I mean, this list is all about being honest. Rom-coms just aren't my thing. When a rom-com falls flat, I hate it. I can't stand it. And the rom-coms that have been coming out on Netflix over the last few years, I mean, there's some that every now and then, To All the Boys I Loved Before, that comes out and kind of blows me away. And this I'll put in the same category. Always Be My Maybe had no right being as good as it ended up being. And I thought this movie was going to be another waste of an hour and a half, waking up super early to review the Netflix movie like I always do, and I just had a smile on my face the entire time. Keanu Reeves comes in at the end of the film and steals the entire show. If you guys like rom-coms, not a teenage coming-of-age story rom-com, which Netflix is constantly putting out, and they're constantly bad, Always Be My Maybe falls out of that category, breaks some genre conventions, doesn't do the same old trope you see every single time, and actually ended up being quirky, sweet, fun. And Always Be My Maybe is one that I believe is worth watching. My number 6 is a movie that I would probably put above all of the movies that I've talked about thus far. I know I said I'm not going in the order of quality, but man, is Fighting With My Family not just one of the best and most entertaining movies I have seen this year? Another film that had no right being as good as it ended up being. And the reason why it's this high up on my list is I didn't think I'd like this movie. I just didn't. Saw the trailer. Funny, sweet, sure, but usually movies like this, they fall flat. And it's a WWE-produced film. And if you guys have ever seen a WWE-produced film, they're not good. Well, most of them aren't good. And it could be the fact that Stephen Merchant lends his directing hand to this film, the fact that you have The Rock, the fact that you have all of these brilliant actors, and Florence Pugh. Once again, I mean, this has been the year of Florence Pugh. Midsommar, we have Little Women coming out, Fighting With My Family, we have the Black Widow trailer. I mean, she is having herself a year, but it all spawned with this film. This is really the first time I had seen her in a prominent role, and she blew me away. This movie was heartfelt, it was emotional, it was filmed pretty well. I liked the story of Vince Vaughn's character. I like everything about a story like this. It almost reminds me of The Heart that Sing Street had, one of my favorite movies of the 2010s. Spoilers for my decade list, but this had that exact same heart, and it really does do something that you don't expect it to do. If you guys were hesitant about seeing Fighting With My Family because it was it's a WWE movie. Look, I liked WWE as a kid, but I'm not the biggest fan of it now. It doesn't matter. This movie is awesome. Go check it out, seek it out. Now, a film coming in at my number 5 is one that I don't think it's as good. It's really the 3 previous movies we were talking about, but one that I just thought would fall apart in the biggest way. I mean, the director, and I know he directed Zombieland 1, but ever since then he's not really directed a great film. And is this a film that's going to recapture the magic? Is Zombieland 2 Double Tap going to outdo its trailer? Because I didn't like the trailer. I didn't think it was all that funny. I said, another nostalgia-capturing sequel in the same vein of a Zoolander 2 and a Dumb and Dumber 2, and some would say an Anchorman 2. I kind of like Anchorman 2. Zombieland 2 Double Tap really surpassed my expectations. This movie captured the magic just as much as the first one did. Now, I still prefer Zombieland 1, but I had a really good time with Zombieland Double Tap, and it could be where I did the double feature. I watched them back to back. It was a great time, a lot of fun in the theater, but I think the dynamics are there. The chemistry is awesome between the team. The performances are just as good in this movie as they are in the first. The only issue I have, the major issue, is the third act. I think they speed through some plot points, and they kind of end in a way that was a bit underwhelming, and I don't think the movie is great. I think the movie is really good, but a lot higher than I thought it was going to be, because I was afraid this could end up on another list that I'm doing later on, but it didn't. It was surprising, and that's why it's at number 5. One that surprised me even more, because that's how we're doing this, is Ready or Not. Yeah, this movie is really good, close to being great, and I never in a million years would have thought it would be after seeing that first trailer, because this is the kind of film, and not that I didn't like the trailer, I thought the trailer was fun and quirky, but this is the kind of movie where a trailer comes out, you're like, oh, that's cool, but movies like this rarely work as well as the trailer does. Movies like this usually, they tend to fall apart, to be honest. I don't think Ready or Not fell apart. I think Samara Weaving killed it in this role. She killed it. And the direction, I mean, the amount of fun in this film is way more than it had any right being. This movie is so entertaining. It really is all about this girl who's trying to escape from this crazy family, and they're all trying to kill her. It's a simple premise, but it's an interesting one, and it commits to the fact that it is insane. Pure insanity. The humor works really well. It's one of the more memorable horror films of the year. Ready or Not was a huge surprise, as was another horror film that we're about to talk about. I don't like this movie as much as Ready or Not, but this one was way more surprising for me, and that's Crawl. Why was Crawl good? It shouldn't have been this good. I mean, not that it's great, but it shouldn't have been good. I did not like the trailer at all. I thought the trailer was one of the dumbest, cheesiest things I've seen all year. Granted, the movie is cheesy, and it gets a bit dumb at times, but it knows what it is. I mean, Sam Raimi lends his name, didn't direct the film, but he lends his name in the producing credits, and you could feel his touch throughout the movie. And this film captures tone, I believe, better than any other horror film I've seen this year. In this vein, a studio horror film, it really did blow me away in terms of how much fun. I mean, pure entertainment. It's exactly what you expect it to be. You're basically having to escape this hurricane, this water-filled house. It's moving up levels, and at the same time, is the giant alligator swimming around trying to eat you. It's silly, it's fun, it works. Crawl, once again, had no right being as fun as it ended up being, but the level of surprise that this movie had was ridiculous. Now, I put this one above it just because movies like this, movies like Alita Battle Angel, mostly tend to fall flat when you're recreating a Japanese anime into live action, and we've seen movies do it multiple times. I mean, just a couple of years ago, Scarlett Johansson starred in, what was the movie? A Ghost in the Shell. There you go. I can't even think of the name because we get our Death Notes, we get our Ghost in the Shells, and I didn't despise those movies with everything in me, but they're not memorable. They did not execute on what the source material brought us. In my opinion, Alita Battle Angel did execute. I mean, this movie was a lot of fun, and it knows exactly what it's supposed to be. Alita Battle Angel did capture the magic that it was supposed to capture. Austin, why is it number 2 on your list? Well, because I just didn't think it would do that. I really didn't. I saw the trailer, and I said, oh, no. And then you look at the release date, and it's like they have no confidence in this movie, and they moved the release date multiple times, and the film, you know, I don't think it's going to do all that well at the box office. Then the movie comes out, and I watch it, and I'm just blown away by its quality. Now, do I love the film? No, I don't love it, but it was way better than I thought it would be. And I'm willing to admit, I've been defeated in the fact that Alita Battle Angel slapped me in the face and said, you should have believed in me, because the performances were really great. I mean, there are a few in there that didn't quite work. Christoph Waltz was good. Mahershala Ali, his character didn't get a lot of fleshing out, but he was great in the film. Rosa Salazar, I love her. I don't tell my wife. I love her. She is fantastic as Alita, and I want to see more, man. I don't know if we're going to get more. It didn't fare all that well at the box office, but I want to see more from this universe. The visuals were gorgeous. I really hope it gets an Oscar nomination. Alita Battle Angel blew me away, surpassed my expectations, but it's not my number 1. Now, a lot of you may not have even seen my number 1. It is a Netflix film. It is one that I saw, because normally this is what happens on Netflix. You see, you roll your eyes, and you say, an animated movie on Netflix? Okay. This is a film called Klaus. This is my number 1 most surprising movie of the year. It's a movie that I gave a score to, and you know, ever since I've watched that movie and ever since I reviewed it for the first time, I've actually upped my score in my head a little bit. I need to go back and watch it again, but this is one that I think will become an instant Christmas classic. Klaus really redefines your expectations of where this story is going to go, taking some beautiful animation, applying it to a story that I think is really, really gutsy. I mean, how often do we get a story that recreates the origin of Santa Claus, but that story actually works? I think Klaus does everything right. It really does. It's a beautiful movie with gorgeous animation. When I first watched it, you know, I found some elements to it to be a bit silly and cheesy, and not that it makes it a bad movie, but for me, I just expected a bit more of the adult stuff. You get that towards the end, but after thinking about it, I'm like, this is a movie that is clearly intended for families. Families meaning adults, but also children, and I think that kind of humor, that style of humor, works so well for what kids want to see out of a film like this, but it also has the heart. It also has the emotion that I think adults are yearning for or longing for. They should love in a movie like this. And Klaus is my biggest surprise of the year so far because it stuck with me more than I ever thought it would. And like I said for the other movies on this list, I thought nothing about it going in. I thought this is going to be cheesy and silly and a big bunch of nothing, and it's probably going to fall completely flat. I mean, the animation looks really good, but this had... I said it again. This had no right being as good as it ended up being, and Klaus really did everything you want in an animated Christmas movie that I think could become an animated Christmas classic. That is my number one biggest surprise of 2019 so far. So I want to know, what did you guys think of this list? What is your top 10? And if you like this video, like I said, smash that thumbs up button. It really helps out this channel. It tells me you want to see more lists, and maybe my top 10 most disappointing list is on its way. I'm working on it. If all things go according to plan, that should come out tomorrow along with some box office talk, and I am going to be reviewing the full season of Watchmen on HBO. Thank you guys so much for watching, and a lot of 2019 lists, a lot of decade lists to come. If you guys missed the other ones on my channel, go to my videos, go to my playlist. You'll find all of those things. Thank you so much for watching. This was a lot of fun. 2019, one of the best years I've ever been a part of movie-wise. Some of the more surprising movies I have ever seen. You guys the best. I'll see you soon.